अंसारी वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट के शहर एहतमाम मीरपुर आज़ाद कश्मीर में गूंगे और बहरी बच्चों की मुफ्त तालीम और तरबियत का इदारा कश्मीर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ स्पेशल एजुकेशन कायस आपके ताउन का तलबगार अंसारी वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट यूके बाकले बैंक सोड कोड 201188 account number 50877735 website awtuk.org वसीम द ताबार नाला समोसा चाट फ्रूट चाट दही बल्ले गोलगप्पे सब्ज़ चाट पहली वाली आलम रॉक रोड तो ताज़ा गन्ने दा जूस जी हाँ ताज़ा गन्ने दा जूस वसीम द ताबा outside Lord Pizza 32 Alum Rock Ward telephone number 0784642895 वसीम द ताबा
Radio Aap Ki Awaaz.co.uk, bringing communities together through interfaith and social cohesion specialist shows.
क्या आप परेशान ज़दा वालिदैन हैं या समझते हैं कि कोरोना जो आलमी वबा भी है ने आपके बच्चे की पढ़ाई पर असर किया है तो परेशान मत हो क्योंकि राइजिंग स्टार अकेडमी अपने नाम की तरह पहचान भी रखता है वो वालिदैन जिनकी आमदनी कम है कि अच्छी तरीके से मदद भी कर सकता है राइजिंग स्टार अकेडमी में अपने बेहतरीन सहूलतों के साथ मुनज़्ज़म क्लासों में पढ़ाई की कमी पूरी करने वाले लेसन दिए जाते हैं सिर्फ स्कूल के दौरान ही नहीं बल्कि छुट्टियों में भी मुख्तलिफ एक्टिविटीज़ की जाती हैं जिनमें घुड़सवारी तीरंदाजी बॉलिंग और भी बहुत कुछ सिखाया जाता है ये लेसन अमाना सेंटर में तजुर्बाकार असातिज़ा की निगरानी में दिए जाते हैं इसके अलावा 11+ सैट्स और GCSE पर भी खास तवज्जो दी जाती है ताकि आपके बच्चे का मुस्तकबिल संवर सके सिर्फ यही नहीं बल्कि हफ्ते के दौरान प्राइमरी स्कूल के बच्चों को भी बूस्टर क्लासेस दी जाती हैं ताकि उनकी पढ़ाई में भी कोई फ़र्क न आए इस सहूलत से फ़ायदा उठाने के लिए हमारी वेबसाइट risingstaracademy.org.uk पर जाएं या फ़ोन नंबर 0122227190 पर हमसे रब्ता करें शुक्रिया
घरेलू नचाकी औलाद का न होना औलाद नाफरमान है मोहब्बत में नाकामी औलाद के रिश्ते की परेशानी कारोबार में बंदिश काले जादू का असर तो आप परेशान न हो आज ही इस बहाने के लिए राब्ता करें हाफिज मुबारक शाह साहब से व्हाट्सएप नंबर पर 07424605048 that's 07424605048 अपनी जिम्मेदारी से राब्ता करें रेडियो आपकी आवाज पर कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं है
Adderley Nursery School, close to the city centre, St Saviour's Road, Birmingham, B818N. A place to create and learn, connect and belong. We are a local authority maintained nursery school led by a head teacher and a team of experienced, specialist early years teachers and practitioners. We offer free 15 hours for all 3 and 4-year-olds and some 2-year-olds. We also offer free 30 hours childcare for working parents, support for children with special educational needs and disabilities, and we are open from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m, term time only, and we offer breakfast and tea. We are based on St Saviour's Road. Please call and register your child on 0121 464 4183.
Assalamu alaikum everybody, good evening and welcome to another edition of the community show. My name is Mohammed Amin. Inshallah I'll be with you between now and 9 o'clock and I'll be covering community issues. Today I've got a distinguished guest with me who is our local ward councillor, Councillor Mohammed Idrees, and before I introduce him I'll just go through the quick usual caveats that we cover off. As you know, for the Muslim community, we are in Eid celebrations and our 3-day Eids normally carry on for about a week and everybody is buzzing, everybody has come out of this compulsory lockdown on July the 19th. But what you need to be mindful of that this Delta variant of COVID-19 is still very rife in the community and unfortunately a lot of people in the community are suffering and they have been affected with this virus, and some of them are carriers of this virus and they don't even know that they're carriers of this virus. The general guidance is that everybody should be vaccinated. Please make sure that every member of your family who is 18 plus, 18 years and over of age are vaccinated. And whilst we give you this information out as a public information, anybody who's got any concern about not being vaccinated, please contact your health profession, your doctors, because they are more qualified to give you the actual medical guidance. We're only here to provide that information for you. Vaccines are available at the Washwood Heath Walk-in Centre on Closure Road here in Alum Rock. Also at your local GP practice, and make an appointment to see your doctor. And what you need to do is take this serious. Even though we are out of statutory lockdown conditions set by the government of the United Kingdom, this virus, the Delta variant or the Indian variant as it's been called, and apparently there's a Brazilian variant, the Beta variant, that one's still kicking around. It's still affecting people, and people are ended up in hospital with quite serious illness. So whilst I don't want to put fear into anybody, regardless the national guidelines, we still have to adhere to our local guidelines. And our local guidelines, especially for Birmingham, are when you're out about shopping in the high streets, whether you're in Alum Rock or any of the other high streets, please make sure you wear your mask. Please make sure you wash your hands frequently, and more importantly, try and avoid hugging each other and shaking of hands, because that's one of the ways this virus spreads. One of the other things I'd like to bring to your attention before I go to my guest today is there's an initiative as part of a Saltley clean-up exercise through the Saltley Community Welfare Group and support from Radio Aap Ki Awaaz, together with support from the Arts Centre at the College Road. We have the community has come together, and the community have said, right, we can't have this litter everywhere in our streets. What can we do about it? Whilst the local authority does provide weekly litter picking cleaners, literally within a day it's the same again. The main Alum Rock Road is cleaned every morning. I know for myself it's cleaned every morning because I see them about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and they empty the bins and what have you. But again, by about lunchtime they get filled up again. So on the side streets, the main initiative is that the Saltley Community Welfare Group have got together and said, right, enough is enough. Sunday afternoon between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, let's adopt a road. Let's educate the residents of that road. Tell the residents to clean the area in front of their house. If everybody takes ownership, and all we're asking them is to take 15-20 minutes to clean the plastic bottles and any takeaway rubbish and any crisp packets that are there. And within an hour, it makes a big difference. And all that rubbish is collected by the local authority within the next couple of days. And it gives you a bit of pride back in your own area. All we ask the residents to do is take a keen interest in your own road. And obviously, anybody wants any further information, contact the station and send me an email at saltleycwg@yahoo.com, and we will give you further information. This following Sunday, we'll be knocking on doors and starting our litter picking campaign in Ralph Road here in Saltley. Our meeting point will be corner of St Saviour's Road and Ralph Road at about 2:45, and we shall start about 3 and finish at 4. Literally an hour. The more people we have, we can do it quite quickly, but honestly will tell you, it makes a massive difference. And within an hour, we have 5 or 6 bin liners filled with rubbish, and that does make a difference. Otherwise, that rubbish would stay there for another fortnight. Another thing I need to tell you is, with Eid celebrations, we've had a lot of family around, we've had people around in our homes, and then we've had extra rubbish, and that rubbish will sit there until it's collected, the following week. And in certain parts of our district, they either collected on Tuesday or a Thursday. So they're literally going to wait for next week. Why not book a special collection? And you can go online and you can book an appointment at www.birmingham.gov.uk HRC. And what you need to do is take your driving license with you and your council tax bill to prove where you live. And once you've registered, you put your registration number on the website. They'll give you a slot, say, come in between 10 and 11, and you can fill your car up with as many black bags as you like. Take them to the recycling centres. There's one at Tameside Drive at Castle Bromwich, B35 7AG, and there's another one at James Road in Tyseley, Birmingham, B11 2BA. I've used both of those facilities, and I've even tried booking a slot for, say, tomorrow morning, earlier this afternoon, and the slot's available. So because COVID restrictions have eased, there's a lot more flexibility now, and that's why I urge people to do is take responsibility, clean your rubbish, and inshallah Alum Rock will be a lot better place to live at. Without further ado, I will now go on to my distinguished guest, and we'll have a brief conversation with community issues and carry on with the rest of the program. In the meantime, please put your comments in on the chat box, and I will cover them off a short while. But as I said, if there's anything else, any burning issues, put them in the chat box, and we'll cover them. It's going to be quite an interesting evening, and I've taken enough time as it is at the moment, and I'll move on to our distinguished guest. Assalamu alaikum, Councillor Idrees sahab.
Wa alaikum assalam, Amin bhai.
बहुत शुक्रिया जी तुसां आशने ना असा शुरू करसा इंग्लिश विच ते फिर जे समझो अपनी ज़बान विच पहाड़ी ज़बान विच जिस तरह तुसां करसो अच्छा तुसां दा जेड़ा ना बहुत शुक्रिया कि as I said to you earlier on, you're very, very busy. I'm very, very grateful that you've given up time in the evening. I know it's not easy for you, especially in the evenings. You have a busy day, you have a busy early evening, and you have evening meetings. So I'm very, very grateful that you've given the time up to be with us for today. We want to generally have a general chat, cover some of the burning issues we have in our ward and Alum Rock, and what we can do as residents to try and address some of those issues.
Thank you very much, Amin bhai. I'm grateful that you invited me to this channel, Aap Ki Awaaz, which is very much liked and getting very popular amongst the local community, and you're getting thousands and thousands of listeners. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the Muslims who celebrated Eid al-Adha on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's a great occasion for the Muslims and brings a great message of sacrifice for all the Muslims. And once again, I want to congratulate everybody who celebrated on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And secondly, I will take this opportunity to highlight the last 15-18 months, the main issues that we have faced. And I'll try to speak in English and Mirpuri, because you got different mix of audiences. As everybody knows, last 15 to 18 months, COVID has affected the whole world. And like the rest of the countries, Britain has suffered the most as well. And we as a community need to take it very seriously, because it is a very, very serious issue, and it does not only take your lives away and your loved ones away, but it also affects economically and mentally. And as you can see, the whole world is at a standstill for the last 18 months, and the only way to get out of this is to take precautions, to take measures and follow the guidelines from the NHS and the government. And one of the basic principles is although the government has relaxed the restrictions, but it's better for everybody to save yourself, to your family, your friends, that we follow those guidelines as much as we can to protect ourselves, our families, our loved ones, and the others as well. And a lot of people say, as you can imagine, the most communities who have suffered is our communities, because of deprivation, because of the underlying issues that we face, because of the health inequalities that we have faced. And I can't imagine any family or any friends or relatives who haven't lost a loved one through this COVID. And the first phase was very deadly in March, April, May, and within weeks and months, I mean, we lost so many people in the community and in the whole country as well. And Birmingham has lost a lot of casualties because of COVID. And the whole world has concentrated to research and produce vaccinations. And some people said, how could they manage to introduce these vaccinations so quickly? And my answer to that is because the whole world concentrated, they mobilized all the researchers and the scientists, and they worked day and night, and we owe them a lot because they sacrificed their time, they sacrificed their, they put everything into it. And the whole world and each country put billions and billions into this. And we were very quick to have 2 vaccinations in UK, and AstraZeneca and Pfizer, they have been used over the last 9 months now. And I will urge everybody to get the vaccination done, because that's the only way we can get the country moving. And this is not only affecting mentally and health-wise as well, because we need to get things normal, and the only way we can get things normal is to get rid of this deadly virus. And I feel that a lot of our people still are reluctant to have the vaccination. First of all, I'll say that I had my both vaccinations. I had my first vaccination on the 10th of March this year, and the second one I had was on 26th of May. And during that time, I donated blood because I suffered myself. On the 18th of January, I was diagnosed to have contracted COVID, and my whole family got affected by that, because if one member gets it, the likelihood is that everybody will get it, and some people don't show sign. My whole family suffered it, but my wife, he didn't suffer any symptoms, but that doesn't mean that she haven't had it. And only way to, if you have symptoms, get the tests done. And the government has done everything, the NHS put everything to get the tests done, and then now the emphasis on getting the vaccination done. And unless we get that vaccinations program successful, we will struggle, and we won't get rid of this deadly virus. And as you can imagine, I'm thankful to Radio Aap Ki Awaaz and other people like yourself and other local organizations and community groups who have publicized, the importance of having vaccinations. And still we find that within our communities, and including Alum Rock, there are lots and lots of people, particularly in over 50s, that they're still waiting and they're not having it. And मेरी उनसे गुजारिश है कि प्लीज़ अगर आपने वैक्सीनेशन नहीं लगवाई तो ज़रूर लगवाएं. इसके साइड इफ़ेक्ट्स वेरी वेरी मिनिमल में हैं, और अगर आप नहीं लगवा रहे तो आप अपने आप को, अपनी फैमिली को और आपके अजीज़ों को उनको डेंजर में डाल रहे हैं. तो अगर किसी को मेरी वजह से अगर ये वायरस लगती है और ख़ुदा न खास्ता उनको ज़्यादा सफरिंग करना पड़ती है और अगर उनकी डेथ हो जाती है, तो मुझे शर्म आनी चाहिए कि मेरी वजह से किसी की जान जो है वो ज़ाया हो गया. इसलिए हमें हर एक को कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि अपनी सेफ्टी के लिए भी, अपने वालिदैन के लिए सेफ्टी के लिए, अपने अजीज़ों की सेफ्टी के लिए, दोस्तों की सेफ्टी के लिए उनके इसको लगवाएं. अगर आपकी कोई रिजर्वेशंस हैं तो द बेस्ट थिंग इज़ दैट यू कंसल्ट योर GP, and they are the best people, if they feel, because they know your history, and if they think that it's not wise and it's worth waiting to have a vaccination, then you can listen to their advice, and otherwise just listen to them. क्योंकि हम जब भी कोई छोटी या बड़ी बीमारी होती है तो हम क्या करते हैं, अपने GP के पास जाते हैं और वो जो एडवाइस करते हैं हम उसको फॉलो करते हैं. और हम बड़े खुशकिस्मत हैं इस मुल्क में हमें फ्री हर चीज़ मिल रही है. और इसमें जो कास्ट आ रही है वो बिलियंस एंड बिलियंस तो दूसरे मुल्क जो गरीब मुल्क हैं वो तो देखते हैं बेचारे लोग वो तरस रहे हैं कि हमें किसी तरीके से ये वायरस जो गेट रिड ऑफ इट, हमें वैक्सीनेशन मिले। लेकिन उन मुल्कों में जो है ना मतलब बड़ी स्ट्रगल हो रही है क्योंकि उनके इतने रिसोर्सेज नहीं है, इसकी अवेलेबिलिटी इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं है। लेकिन हमें कोई इस मुल्क में एक्सक्यूज़ नहीं है कि इसकी इस अवेलेबल इन अबंडेंस एंड ये सबको फ्री है। अगर ये NHS गवर्नमेंट चार्ज कर रही होती तो हम गिले करते कि ये क्या है जो है ना, ये हमसे चार्ज क्यों कर रहे हैं जो है ना। तो इस सिलसिले में जो है ना, क्योंकि अभी गवर्नमेंट ने जो रिस्ट्रिक्शंस रिलीज़ की हैं, इससे आपने देखा है कि डाटा पहले डाटा अल्फ़ा था, फिर बीटा था, और अब डेल्टा वेरिएंट है, ये बहुत ही पूरी दुनिया में फैल रहा है और ये बहुत ही डेडली है। इसकी स्प्रेड जो रेट है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है। तो इसलिए हमें प्रिकॉशंस करनी चाहिए और जितना भी जल्दी हो सके जिन लोगों ने नहीं लगवाई ये वैक्सीनेशन वो ज़रूर लगवाएं।
शुक्रिया काउंसलर अदील साहब, ये जो है ना आपने जो बताया कम्युनिटी के लिए इंफॉर्मेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है। हम तो सबको बताते हैं पर फिर ये कहते हैं कि हम नहीं लगाते, क्या करें। हम तो ये कहते हैं कि आप डॉक्टर से बात करें, कि आपका डॉक्टर जो है आपको बेहतर गाइडेंस देगा, उससे बात करें।
मैं इसकी आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि जब छोटे बच्चे हम जब छोटे थे, अभी भी होता है, 4, 5, 6 साल के बच्चे जब हम उसको आप बाबू के पास लेके जाते हैं, वाले वो क्या वो बाल ही काटता है, लेकिन वो उनको डर होता है, वो डरते हैं और इतना शोर मचाते हैं। और बिल्कुल इसी तरह ही है जो है ना कि अच्छा फिर जो है ना वैक्सीनेशन पिछले 30-40 ईयर्स से जो है ना मतलब है पूरी दुनिया में ये बच्चों को भी लगती है, आरे को लगती है। तो इस लाइक एनी अदर वैक्सीन, इसमें कोई मतलब ऐसी कोई नई बात तो है नहीं है, बल्कि ये बहुत ही ज़रूरी है क्योंकि ये इतनी डेडली वायरस है कि इससे जो है ना मतलब अगर आपको लग जाए तो इसमें एक तो ये है कि इसमें अगर आपको जो तकलीफ़ होती है वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा है। लेकिन बस हमारे दोस्त भाई अजीज़ जो हैं वो विद इन वीक्स जो है ना इसको नहीं बर्दाश्त कर सके और उनकी जो है ना बेस्ट एफर्ट्स हॉस्पिटल्स और बेस्ट इक्विपमेंट वो बेचारे जो है ना अल्लाह को प्यारे हो गए। तो हमें चाहिए कि उनके लिए भी दुआ करें और बाकी जो हमारे जो अजीज़ हैं उनकी कोशिश करें कि हम उनको किस तरह बचा सकते हैं।
Viewers and listeners, we are having a conversation here with Councillor Mohammed Idrees. We're talking about COVID-19 and the effects of COVID-19, especially to the Asian community, where we have said that with obviously social economic factors, deprivation, the illnesses that our community suffers from has an added effect on these type of illnesses, and would like to thank the viewers and listeners for sending in messages. Said Wali Khan, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका पाकिस्तान और कराची से, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप कराची से हमको सुन रहे हैं। जावेद अख्तर सलाम, काउंसलर अदील साहब आपको भी सलाम देता है। यासिर सदीक गुड इवनिंग एंड जफर सलाम good evening। अच्छा काउंसलर अदील साहब COVID-19 ते असां अपनी थोड़ा मुझसे कवर करिए ना। अच्छा असां ने वार्ड एरिया विच कई इशू एंड ऑब्वियसली असां को टाइम इतना है कि असां जेह्ड़े सारे असां इशू कवर ना करी सकने, बट pinpoint certain areas के जेह्ड़े तुसां समझदे हो कि भाई इनिशिएटिव अच्छी जा रही है।
हमारी in the last 10 years, you know, we as a community has faced so many challenges, and the biggest challenge is attainment of our children. And this is we are in a very fortunate country where the education is free, although in the last 10 years there is some students have to pay, but they get the grants as well and they have to eventually pay. But still if you compare with other countries, पूरी दुनिया में जो अमीर लोग हैं वो अपने बच्चों को इस मुल्क में भेजते हैं और उसमें उनको लाखों करोड़ों जो है ना वो बच्चों की तालीम पर खर्च करना पड़ता है। लेकिन उसकी निस्बत इस मुल्क में हमें सब फ्री है और इसमें हर सहूलतें मौजूद हैं। लेकिन हमारी जो बच्चे हैं हमारे जो वो जिस तरीके से उनको अटेंड करना चाहिए अचीवमेंट वो नहीं हो रही, तो ये इज़ अ वेरी वरिंग इशू, क्योंकि आपने देखा पिछले 15-20 साल में ग्रेजुअली एवरी ईयर जो मैनुअल जॉब्स थी वो तो ख़त्म हो रही थी। For the last 10 years, you know, the IT and communications, everything has taken over. And if you are not well educated, you will struggle to find jobs. Even if you manage to find jobs, you know, they will not be well paid. If you look at, you know, I really get worried about us youngsters because they are facing so many challenges. And I find it, you know, and I've been raising this at the council and at highest level with the different ministers. Housing is a big problem because we talk about a lot about social
deprivation,
and social housing and affordable housing.
affordable housing, yeah.
To me, the affordable housing, if you look back 30 years ago,
they were different.
was that if you whatever profession you are in, whatever job you are in, if you can put a 5 to 10% deposit, and then you can get a mortgage 3 times your annual income. Everybody could look for a house and they could buy it. Even if somebody was earning 30,000, they could buy up to 100,000. If somebody was earning 10,000, they could put a 10% deposit and buy up to 35,000-40,000. But these days, you know, when they talk about social, affordable housing, they're talking about 250,000-300,000. Even if you are earning 50,000 and you are the first time buyer, and if you don't get any support from the family and friends, and how many people can depend on that? I mean, and you need the roof on the top of your head. That is a basic necessity, and that is a big issue. Then we're talking about, you know, litter and fly tipping and all that. It is a big issue, and that is superseding all the major issues that we should be concentrating on. And this is something that's within our control. If you go back 30-35 years ago, our parents, our mothers, our sisters, first thing they used to do was clean the inside of the house, and then get the front garden, any litter, any small cans, any paper lying there, they used to pick it up and put in the bin. We haven't had those wheelie bins, but every household has, you know, the wheelie bins. And then everybody used to move out of the front garden, look at the pavement and the road, and we can still do the same. We can blame the council if the resources were spent a lot more than what we are spending. But we are spending at that time it was only a fraction, only a tiny fraction of what we are spending now. But still we got the problem. And as you said in your introduction, if every household does the simple thing, when you get up in the morning, while you look after the inside of the house, open the front door, and if there is any cans, any litter lying in front garden and on the pavement, and if everybody picks it up, you know, it all doesn't take even 30 seconds, and every household can do it. And if everybody does it, because we're just depending on the council workers, and at one time in the city council we used to have 50,000 plus workers, and you hardly got less than 15,000 now. And every service is stretched out. And let's say, you know, if me and you have to do, you know, as a litter pickers, and if we have to do it, and there's so much litter on each road, in 6 to 8 hours, hardly will manage to do 3 or 4 roads if we are lucky. And in each ward, and in my particular ward, we've got about 140, 50 roads. Some are small, some are bigger. But if everybody does it, and then we can concentrate on fly tipping and the biggest stuff. And if the council is not doing it, and then we can blame the council. But the reality is, you know, we, instead of doing and taking the responsibility on ourselves, everybody's got a responsibility. We as elected members got a responsibility. The residents have got a responsibility. The shopkeepers got a responsibility. If everybody does their bit and share, things get very simple. But if we leave everything to the council, to the government, to the NHS, to the councillors, to the MPs, and the rest don't do their bit, it's become very, very hard. I'll give you an example. Like, if I have to go 30 people, every household, you can imagine how long it's going to take to do it. But if everybody comes,
makes a big difference.
then everybody works from different corners of the road, and then makes things simple. If I have to pick up 1 kilogram, possibly I can pick it and hold it for a couple of hours. But if I have to pick up 1 kilogram of 70 people, you can imagine.
That's right.
Can I do it? No. It's simple as that, if everybody does it. And these are the simple things, and the millions and millions we are spending on litter picking and fly tipping. That money could be used into other useful things, bringing more education and healthcare, social healthcare and all that. So
And you see, my assumption is what's happening is the resources are a limited amount within the city council. If those resources are redirected to fly tipping, other services will suffer. If you've got a reduced budget, everything will suffer. But that's just my simple idea of a local authority.
And every year, we spent on the waste collection.
Millions.
Millions and millions, we overspend it. Because it's important to do it, but it is something, if we do it in a shared way, we can tackle this issue and we can concentrate on other things that needs council's attention.
Well, I saw there's a group of us who like to walk around the ward regularly, and we saw the flying litter squad today, and I pulled over and I said thank you to them. And they looked at me and I said, no, thank you very much for doing it, because I've been reporting this particular incident for the last 4 days. And they laughed at me and was, we're the ones who come every day for the last 4 days to pick this up. I said, I'm really sorry. I am trying to educate the community. We are all trying to engage the community. But I did thank those two individuals, and I said, I'm really grateful for the efforts that you're doing. And what they said exactly what you've just said. They said, it's okay, the flying litter squad come in here, but we've been pulled off other duties to come and do this, and there's only so much we can do. And this is where it really boils down to the community initiative, and that's why, we as an organisation trying to persuade the community to come and engage with us, have a bit of fun, have a bit of laugh, and as you said, if there's about 10, 15 of us, instead of doing one road in an hour, we can do a couple of roads in an hour, and that can make a massive difference over the weekend. But it's trying to engage our community and trying to get our community to come on board. Inshallah they will, but it will take time. Just have a quick...
Also, I just want to add on, because if it was just one ward, where this issue was prevalent more...
No, it's citywide. It's citywide. I was reading
and
some...
That's why, because, if it's just one ward or two ward, then we can concentrate all our efforts in there. But the problem is everywhere. And I get people saying or giving examples of Sutton and Solihull.
Yeah.
But, if you go back 30 years ago, it's down to the attitude of the people.
That's right.
And it's the different people, because what is spent within the inner city wards and what is spent in Solihull and what's spent on Sutton is only a fraction of that. If the more resources were spent on those wards and those areas, then we can understand that. But within the inner city wards, we spend most of the resources, but this problem still...
But again, you see, if you've got a family in Sutton, it's normally 2.5 people living in a house.
Yeah.
So how much rubbish do they generate? You look at average inner city families, they're between 6 and 8 people live in a house, so they generate more rubbish. But if they generate more rubbish, put it into the bin, not in the streets. And then also you have people who come come shopping in the commercial area, go back to their cars, have their takeaway food and what have you. And instead of putting everything in a bag and using one of the bins in one of the residents' front gardens, they just throw it onto the street, and that again they expect somebody else to pick that up.
I understand that, but if you've got a bigger family, 6 or more, then you can be provided.
You can provide a bigger bin.
Bins,
right.
And also, we get people coming on Alum Rock Ward. It's a very busy centre, and it's very thriving, and people come from all over the country. And I would urge all the shopkeepers, they got a responsibility like every household as well, and if they take care of what waste they produce, and if they got the right contracts, and if they educate people, and if the customers coming, they can talk to them, well, in a very polite way that we are proud of our area, we are a thriving shopping center. But if you buy anything, if you don't need to throw anything, and you got the bins, and if there is a need for more bins, we can produce that. But over the years, the experience is wherever we put bins, they become fly tipping
sites.
hotspots. And I find it, we've got so many takeaways and so many restaurants on Alum Rock Road, and we are in the process of talking to the planning department and all that, because we've got too many, and they need to look at it. And secondly, I'm also talking to them that they should have some contract, like they have to make sure a few meters on each side that they are responsible to make sure that there's nothing litter. They have to make arrangements to dispose it properly. And we are working on that. And we've got a big problem on parking as well. We can talk on a few.
Just finish off with litter. As I said, litter is a big issue, and I know people give the examples of Solihull and Sutton Coldfield. It was quite interesting. I was reading Evening Mail, Birmingham Mail Live. There's an article about Falcon Lodge Estate, which is in Wild Green, Sutton Coldfield. And again, they haven't had refuse collection for 3 weeks, and it's just piling up. So people can give you examples, but where you've got densely population, whether it's Alum Rock or whether it's Small Heath or Sparkhill, we will have these issues. Just have a quick look on the chat. Jawed Akhtar made a comment about fly tipping in Alum Rock. It's a disgrace. Yes, it is a disgrace. Zafar Salam. Assalamu alaikum, thank you very much for listening to our program. Zulfikar Hussain Saab, Assalamu alaikum uncle, thank you very much for listening into our program. And I think we can spend the whole next 20 minutes on the litter campaign and the litter generally, but these things have a habit of going a lot worse before they calm down. So hopefully the efforts and the cleaning operations that you put in at ward level will show dividends. But as with always, it's like if you go down to Northfield, if you go down to King's Heath, if you go down to Hall Green, Wild Green, every part of Birmingham has that little problem. It's not just
and throughout the country as well.
And then throughout the country, I've noticed there were some reports I was reading up in Lancashire. They've got problems as well up in Merseyside. So it's not just a Birmingham problem. It's a general problem. And I think what they're looking at is like something like these plastic bottles and plastic water bottles, and they're thinking of like putting some type of tax on these water bottles, so less people will like buy these water bottles, but put some taps on where they refill. So all that, there's a big piece of work that's been done in the background, and a lot of these things take time. We only see when these things happen.
Over the years, people's habits and attitudes have changed. It's all down to that. Going back 35 years ago,
well,
throwing anything on the road was seen as very, very bad, and people were ashamed of it. Now all over the country, this has become as a norm for everybody.
I remember growing up in Saltley, whenever we went out, whenever we went to the park, we always used to have a carrier bag. Our rubbish would go into a carrier bag. If we could find a bin there, we'd put it into the bin. Otherwise, we'd bring it home and put it into the bin at home. And I never ever would clean my car out now and throw my cigarette stubs or whatever rubbish, or as you see many of the people clean their cars, the rubbish goes out of there, right? And if I do empty the rubbish out on my pavement, I always make sure I clean that. I was cleaning my front garden a few weeks ago, and I was jet washing my front garden, and the pavement outside, you can tell it was jet washing. The neighbours go back across me and say, "Well, what are you doing, brother?" I said, "Yeah, don't worry, when I finish mine, I'll do yours." And then he was laughing at me. He goes, "Oh, if I bring my car, will you do my car?" I said, "Yeah, brother, bring me your car, I'll do your car. And if you want to bring the streets cars, I'll do everybody." I thought, then I thought, no, I'm just going to carry on. Maybe he may learn a lesson, but people laugh at you and people think, well, that's a public. Well, if it's a public path, people are walking on it, and if it looks nice and clean, so maybe the next person will say, hang on, needs to be clean his garden, and then gradually there'll be a ripple effect throughout the street, and that's the culture I would like to change. I mean, many years ago, we had elderly Irish people who used to live in Saltley. They were renowned for cleaning their front gardens. They were renowned for cleaning their pavements. And I remember growing up, early 70s in Saltley. And mashallah, we used to see that. And over the years, I can give you examples. I can see it going the other way. I mean, we will need to revive it, but we will get there. But thank you.
If I can give an example, I think it's we've got a very short time, but these are the things that you can make the difference. If we don't change, no matter what we do, the things are going to carry on like as they are. And we see a lot of extensions. People are spending a lot of money on the extensions and the furniture and all that, which is good. And they'll spend 10, 20, 30, 40,000 on extensions, put a new furniture in, which is very good. But when they get rid of the old furniture, they'll just throw it, where they have spent 10, 20, 30,000, if they can spend another 300, 350 on a skip, they can do it, but they won't do it. They'll just throw it. It's become a norm, put it outside.
It's somebody else's problem, they'll do it.
Yeah, somebody else's, they will do it. And also, when the builder has finished, what I see so many properties, they will leave all the sandbags outside, the bricks, the broken bricks, and the wooden planks and all that. But if I'm getting the work done, I should say to the builder, I will withhold about £1,000 or 1,500 pounds, and ask him, we have to get rid of this, and I want a proof. Where have you put this one in? So I need a proof that you have done it properly. You haven't gone around and thrown somewhere else. And these are the little things, but they need to take care of these little things.
It's like a brother said to me last week. He said, you're cleaning up the streets, you're doing a fantastic job, but maybe you need to put a proposal into the council to say, if they're going to drop a bag of sand, you can say whatever company that's dropped that bag of sand, they take a deposit of 20, 30 pounds, and they make sure that whenever that work is done, that bag and that sandbag or whatever's left is removed. Otherwise, they'll get fined by the council, and the council will only allow that sandbag to put on that street unless they have a permit. And I know these are extreme measures, but our community will not learn unless we do some extreme measures, because people will just put a pallet in the middle of the street. Parking is an issue. They'll put a pallet, there's bricks on there, there's sand on there, they'll stay there for 3-4 months. And but hang on a minute, you don't own that road. Everybody pays road tax. Everybody uses that road. Be a bit considerate to other people, but they don't do that. And that sandbag, the knock-on effect of that sandbag will be is when we have the heavy rain, the sand goes into the drains,
and it
blocks the drains. The knock-on effect is, the council will clean. Well, what do you expect the council to do? And when you got heavy rain and you got sand, it's like it becomes a bit of a grit, and that grit, instead of a fatberg with oil, the grit becomes like a block of concrete, and if you've got some loose concrete that goes in, it's not rock solid, so no wonder the drains are blocked. And then it costs the council thousands of pounds to get a jetty out, to clean that out, and the knock-on effect will be to the rest of the community, but they don't look at it that way.
It's happening everywhere. So, these are the little things, if you take care of these little things, everybody does their bit, then things become so simple. But if we don't, then all these little things compound into bigger things, and then we get things getting into a chaos.
Yeah, and that's what we've always said. What we've always said to people is do whatever you need to do, but responsibly have consideration for other people. So just have a look at a couple of comments. Amjad Mirza, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for listening to the program. Just see if there's any comments. Viewers and listeners, if there's any more comments, please put them in the chat box, and we will carry on our discussion. Just a reminder, viewers and listeners, you're listening to the community show with Mohammed Amin on radioaapkiawaaz.co.uk. You can listen to me live on www.radioaapkiawaaz.co.uk and the Radio Garden app. I'm Amjad Mirza Saab. I'm not as very proficient with you as you in Urdu and music, but inshallah I am trying. So thank you for your constant support. I really appreciate that. If you like to sponsor a program or like to advertise your business, the number for Ikram Mirza is 07944 808 141. That's 07944 808 141. We will be carrying on our discussion and with Councillor Mohammed Idrees here in the studio. But if there's any comments in the next couple of minutes, please put them on the chat and we will gladly cover them. Acha, we
highlighted the parking issue and all
we
that.
briefly touched on parking.
Talked about Alum Rock Road, and we are working, myself and Councillor Mariam Khan, we are working hard with the officers, and we have identified at the moment 2 spots where we can develop parking.
MashaAllah, that's
and
good.
in the next couple of weeks, we'll be having a chat with the officers
From
and the
highways.
cabinet member. How can we speed up that process?
Speed up the process.
And in terms of parking on the side roads, I mean, as you can see, when these houses were built 100 plus years ago, there was only capacity. There were no cars at that moment, but there is only one capacity on these houses where 1 car can be parked. But we got on average 3 to 4 cars in every household.
Yeah.
And you can imagine, we can't create space.
No.
We can only work on the space that we got. And on the side streets, where can you accommodate other cars? And a lot of people say, they want to build a dropped curb. But for that, you need about 15 feet.
That's right, clearance.
Beyond the pavement.
Yeah.
And all these houses, they got about 5-6 feet.
Yeah, they're small.
So there's a problem. You can't have a drop curb. And the government and the council is encouraging people to have less cars. They're investing in transport infrastructure, the buses and all that, carbon free. And it's very difficult for people to convince them to get rid of the cars and just to use other modes of transport. But unless you change your habit and have less cars, there's not much you can do. We are happy to listen to any positive suggestions which are practical. Do we work on that?
And I think the other main issues are, whilst the residents have the issues with parking, and as you just rightly said, people have 2, 3, 4 cars per household. And what people need to realise is, do we actually need those extra cars per household? And the other thing is that Alum Rock Road is a very vibrant shopping area, and we have visitors from all over the country. Originally it was at weekends, but now it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It's extremely busy, and the businesses are doing extremely well on the Alum Rock Road, and that encourages people to come in. But also, one of the other things I've noticed is most of the people who've got people working for them in their shops, a lot of them live outside the area, and they drive into the area and they use that space up as well. So the parking issue just gets worse and worse. And then when you look at some of the cars and you think, well, okay, I may get a slot of parking about 9 o'clock in the evening. Oh, great, because the workers have gone home. But whilst, it's the duty for the shopkeepers to make arrangements for their workers, more importantly as well, there's got to be some consideration by the business community for the residents of this area as well, because we live in this area as well. But it's quite interesting, and I'm really pleased to hear there's a potential site, 2 sites for a communal parking. So that will definitely make some improvement in the area.
And we have myself and Councillor Mariam Khan, and we will involve our Member of Parliament as well, Liam Byrne. We'll work very closely with the traders, and we want some consensus as to what scheme they want for the main Alum Rock Road, which is workable and which doesn't put anybody at a disadvantage. We will work with them, and if they got any positive suggestions, we will look into that. And secondly, lot of the legislation that we are facing these days, and in terms of planning and parking, and these are out of date.
That's right.
Going back 100 years.
Yeah,
ago,
yeah, yeah.
when we haven't had the
The very old
cars and all that.
legislations. Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult. We can't change those legislations, particularly at local level, and that is very frustrating for us and for the local residents as well. But as I said, we need to work together in a coordinated way to overcome most of these challenges that we are facing.
Well, it's like one of the other issues that I was thinking of was like, yes, on a busy weekend coming up towards Eid, let's close off Alum Rock Road to traffic. But I didn't realise you can't just close off the main road because of the legislation requirements and because it's a main bus route, and you've got to be allowing access to the emergency services. So it's not just as simple as right, let's just shut off the road for 6-7 hours. It's just not possible.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, as you said, people coming from a lot of other cities, they come in cars, so they have to park
they have to park somewhere.
And if they don't come, then the Alum Rock businesses will suffer.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
If we don't get the travelling trade, the businesses will suffer. The travelling trade come, the residents suffer, because I know if I move my car on a weekend, I'll be very lucky to get a space outside my door until about Monday morning. But you just get used to it, and it's a very fine line to say, well, we need the businesses, we need the travelling trade, and it's trying to find a workable solution. But I'm pleased to hear that yourself, Councillor Mohammed Khan, and our MP Liam Burney's putting something together to the cabinet members. So that's positive news.
And we get a lot of complaints and suggestions from the local residents from the side roads, for what do you call it?
Street permits.
Street permits.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult. I mean, as the legislation changes, they come up with we can't introduce that because it impacts.
That's right.
Other people as well. It's I hope if it was that simple.
Yeah.
But things are not as simple as they look. And as I said, we are open to listen to all the suggestions, and then we can work together. And even if we can't eliminate all the problems, at least we can make some progress.
Some progress.
And if we work together, at least we can make some progress.
No, that's as I said, that was very, very good. Very
I think
positive.
finally, if I'm allowed, I want to thank. We had a lot of complaints about the encroachments on the main Alum Rock Road, and as you know, that over the last few weeks we have engaged with the trading standards officers and street trading.
Yes.
And with the police, and as you can see, we have
they made
better outcomes than last year.
Better impact.
But for the next year, Eid festivals, we will work together with the traders and with the community and people like yourself and other community groups. How can we make things better? And as you can see, and the thing is, we have to send a message which the trading standards are talking to the traders who are trading on the payment.
And then maybe if I've got a shop, I open up my shop that night, and if I've got enough room in my shop, I allow these young girls to come into my shop and do the mehndi, so they're not blocking the pavement.
Yeah.
Or maybe we look at the Methodist Church and set up stalls in there to say, I don't know, anybody can set up a stall, £10 per stall, and at the end of the day, whatever it costs to hire the church, any profit that's made, give that money to charity. That way you've got the young girls off the street and in a safe environment. What concerns me especially is you've got these young girls sitting on pavements doing the mehndi art, and all you need is one or two undesirable drivers, and they go out of control, and God forbid there'll be carnage. But it's always, pavement is for walking on, but it's not for sitting on. And I think we can't just make our rules up in Alum Rock. We have to follow the rules, and that's why I'm always an advocate of. There's a reason why there's a rule there. We have to obey the rule, and it's not just me as a resident. The traders have to be part of it. It's a partnership. It's not just my rule. It's not the council's rule, but it's everybody has to work in partnership to come out with a satisfactory solution.
I think, as you said, I mean, on Mehndi, it's a very
Ji.
important festival, and the ladies and young girls, they want it here, and we will work ahead for next year, and I think we can organize it in a much better way, which is satisfactory to everybody. But the problem we got is the fruit sellers and the vegetables. And it's down to the shopkeepers. I mean, if I have a grocery shop, or if I've got an electrical shop, or if I've got a clothing shop, or whatever, retail shop, it's my duty that I don't give it to the fruit sellers because it's no good. It affects other businesses, who are paying rates, employees, and these people just setting it up and not paying any tax, not paying any wages, and that's the big problem. And we can tackle it. The shopkeepers become more aware of it, not allowing them. And if I got an electric shop, I can display my electrical stuff and the payment that I own, and just publicize my own business. Similarly, clothing shops, they can
just
display,
don't encroach the payment.
Just don't, within their own
limits of
space,
the boundary.
they can display their own stuff that they're selling, and they can make more money than just letting these fruit sellers and vegetables. And this is very, very difficult, because if you take an operation, doesn't bring the trade, what do you call them, the enforcement people,
trading standards,
and trading standards and all that, and as soon as they're gone, they come back again, and you can't monitor them 24 hours.
Well, it's like the fruit sellers and the mango sellers especially. Some people will have the mangoes, put them in the bag, say we don't want the box, they'll throw the box. And at the end of the evening, the mango seller's gone home, and there's like 30, 40 boxes there. Well, when would you expect them to pick them up? And that just makes the area look even worse than it is before. And then the street cleaners in the morning, they've got a massive job as it is to clean the streets, and they've got to pick up that trade rubbish. And these people who've dumped the trade rubbish, they're not got any license to trade on this. So it's a vicious circle. And this is where we need to be.
Mango selling is a seasonal thing, and then we can work, like we said about the Mehndi. We can identify some spots where they can, if they want to sell the mangoes, they can do it, but they have to notify the trading standard, they have to register properly, everything has to be done properly. And once that is done properly, then we can assist people whatever way we can.
Thank you very much, Councillor Idrees. One final comment from you, some closing remarks before we end our show today. What would you like to say? What's the message to the community as your closing remark?
My message to the community is, do the little simple things.
Mashallah, thank you.
If we take care of the simple things, the bigger things will take care of themselves. As they say, there's a saying that if you take care of the pennies, you will take the pounds.
Pounds will look after themselves. Mashallah.
And we need to work together. We are up for positive criticism, and we want to engage with everybody. We want to work with everybody. But if you just leave everything to the politicians, to the government, in this area, we got a very thriving area, and we need to work together, and we need to work with our youngsters, because the social media, what I found over the years, the social media, the way it is being used, the things that the grown-up people put on social media, I get really worried. If we send that sort of message, then what do we expect from our youngsters? Because going back 30, 40, our elders used to tell us the moral values. Respect for others, respect for elderly, respect for everybody. And those values, they are eroding all the time. And we need to, being Muslims, there's a saying that
part of our faith
cleanliness is part of the Iman. So we need to get little things, concentrate on those, take care of those, and then we can take care of the bigger things. And as they're saying, a giving hand is better than a receiving. So we should be givers. Everything.
Give some time to the community.
Time to the community. If you can. If God has blessed you with money, give it to the needy people here.
Well, that's what religion teaches us about sadaqah and zakat.
And I've never seen anybody, who gives sadaqah. That anybody who's giving sadaqah and he's a poor man. You're supposed to do that. Because if
Allah Ta'ala
you're doing
rewards you in
sadaqah, and if
abundance.
you're donating,
Yes, yeah.
I mean, donation, I mean, like I said, we can donate our blood. Those people who have suffered from COVID,
Yeah.
if they donate blood,
That's right. There's the
health professionals
Yeah.
can learn a lot from that.
that's right.
That research. So, as I said, we should be givers rather than receivers. Obviously, in terms of services, we should be providing the services, but we should always be looking if I can give somebody rather than hoping, I'm going to get
I'm gonna
what
get
I'm going to get from Amin, what I'm going to get from Mirza, what I'm going to get from the council, what I'm going to get from the government. If we try to become givers, donators, then things will change. And finally, I want to thank you and Brother Ikram Mirza and wish you all the best.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time out this evening. I really appreciate you coming
really
out.
is,
I know it's not easy, but really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I see your listen to your
Thank you.
programs,
Thank
and
you
it's
very
really good, and it's really highlighted most of the issues that we are
Thank you.
facing.
That, to be honest with you, that's what this community program, that's what we're all about. What we like to do is highlight the positive things of Alum Rock and the positive things of Saltley, which is basically my homeland. And more importantly, I would like to see that particular model replicated in the whole of Alum Rock Ward, and I want every Alum Rock Ward resident to be a community advocate. Mashallah, it will take time, but we will work there. And this is where we've said to people is like, Sadqa Jariyah is like, you think you want to give some money, but give some time as well. That's Sadqa Jariyah as well. And this is where, I like to brag about the community litter campaign that we've started. That's another Sadqa Jariyah. And more people are coming on board every week, and it's more and more people are asking questions, which is good, which is a positive way forward. Anyway, once again, Bumbu Shukriya Tusana, Councillor Idrees, Bumbu Shukriya Tusana. Ladies and gentlemen, apologies. I've eaten into Ikram Mirza's time, and I felt it was important to finish off this conversation now we was having with Councillor Mohammed Idrees this evening. And I'm really apologise to Ikram Mirza that I've eaten into his time and not stick to the rules. I slap my wrist for doing that. Thank you very much for listening in, and really appreciate your time and your comments. And until next week, please stay safe and Khada Hafiz.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much.